Pongo the Dalmatian lives in London with his pet Roger. Roger isn't married, and Pongo takes it upon himself to try to find a mate for him. Pongo looks out the window for prospective matches. After a number of not-so-good matches, Pongo finds a good match for himself and his pet. It isn't time yet for their 5 o'clock walk, so Pongo makes it happen by changing the time on the clock over the fireplace. Notice how Roger assumes his own time is wrong. Lesson 1. It's polite to assume first that you are incorrect when your understanding is different from someone else's. At least until you investigate further. Once on their walk in the park, Pongo helps lead Roger in the right direction and tries to force things to happen so that Pongo meets Perdita. Lesson 2. Take the initiative. Sometimes good things won't happen in life until you take the reins and make the most of opportunities at hand. Initially, Pongo's work seems to have failed. But when the dog's pets laugh together about the silliness of the situation, all seems to start moving in the right direction. Things progress quickly to a wedding with 2 happy couples. And months later, the dogs and their pets are happily living together in their house listening to the new music that Roger works on. Perdita is pregnant with puppies and will be giving birth in a few weeks. Lesson 3. When life is good, cherish the moments. The Pongos and their pets are enjoying their honeymoon time together. To the horror of Purdy, Cruella De Vil arrives to check on the status of the upcoming puppies. After Cruella's big entrance, it becomes apparent what she really cares about. Lesson 4. Selfish people only care about their own wants and desires. Cruella's idol in her life is furs, and the Pongos are suspicious about why she is interested in the Dalmatian puppies. After Cruella's visit, Roger is inspired to write the lyrics for his Cruella De Vil Song. A few weeks later, Perdita gives birth to a litter of 15 puppies, and Pongo is amazed that the puppies are here. At one point they seem to have lost one of the puppies, but Roger has an idea to try. Lesson 5. When faced with a problem, try various solutions. You never know if trying something different will solve your problem. Roger successfully saves the puppy, and they still have 15 puppies. Cruella arrives to the shock of the whole family and tries to buy the puppies, but Roger, knowing that something sinister is behind Cruella's seemingly innocent offer, stands up to Cruella and refuses to sell her a single puppy. Lesson 6. Stand up to what is wrong. Roger had the courage to say no to her, and Cruella loses it and storms out of the house to the great joy of the rest of the family. Months pass by, and one evening, Pongo, Perdita, and the puppies are watching Thunderbolt on television. Lesson 7. Spend quality time together as a family. The puppies love seeing Thunderbolt fight the bad guy and use cunning and strategy to outsmart him. The Dalmatians will soon have to use cunning against an enemy of their own soon in this story. While putting the puppies down for bed, Pongo makes sure to count each of the 15 puppies, something he'll do again later to a greater extent when he has 101 Dalmatians to take care of. While Pongo, Perdita, and their pets go for a walk, Jasper and Horace lurk in their truck waiting for them to be gone. Jasper and Horace work for Cruella De Vil and have been sent here for a sinister purpose. They force their way into the house against the protests of the maid. Lesson 8. Be smart when dealing with strangers. The maid knew the men didn't look trustworthy and wasn't willing to let the strangers into their house, but unfortunately her street smarts weren't enough to stop the men from coming in. And so the Dalmatian puppies are abducted by the minions of Cruella De Vil. When the maid escapes from the attic, she checks on the puppies only to find they're gone. Then she runs in the street crying that the puppies are stolen. It's all over London newspapers how the 15 puppies are stolen. To the glee of Cruella De Vil, the police in Scotland Yard have no leads yet on the stolen puppies. Pongo realizes that it's up to him and the dogs to try to find the puppies. It is time to send an all-dogs alert through the Twilight Bark. Pongo spreads the word to the other dogs in the neighborhood for the Twilight Bark. The message is received by various dogs and passed on through all of London in a chain reaction. Soon, every dog in London will be looking for the stolen puppies. Lesson 9. A community working together is a powerful force. In order to search such a great area, it takes a whole community working together. Pongo's message is continually passed on from dog to dog to continue the search for the puppies. Finally, the message reaches a dog called the Colonel and his cat friend Sergeant Tibbs out in the country. Lesson 10. When trying to solve a mystery, leave no stone unturned. Pongo had no idea his message through the Twilight Bark would reach this far, but it is a good thing that it did. The Colonel sees that there is activity over at the abandoned De Vil mansion, and he decides to go check it out with Sergeant Tibbs. Sergeant Tibbs is sent on the mission to investigate inside the mansion and see what he can find. To his surprise, he finds almost 100 Dalmatian puppies, with Cruella's henchmen watching TV. The cat has discovered where Jasper and Horace have been hiding, and he escapes to bring the news back to the Twilight Bark. The message that the stolen puppies have been found comes back to Pongo through the Twilight Bark. The Great Dane tells the Pongos that they need to head north until they reach the Colonel. Lesson 11. Hope gives us purpose and strength. Before they heard the news about the puppies being found, the Pongos were feeling helpless and hopeless. But with the hope that their puppies can be recovered, they have a resolute purpose and strength to face whatever dangers and adventure await them. Cruella De Vil arrives at the mansion to check on the puppies and her minions. She tells them to turn the puppies into fur coats tonight. When they ask for more time, Cruella loses it and threatens Jasper and Horace. The Pongos are running out of time to rescue the puppies. While the Pongos continue their journey north, Sergeant Tibbs comes back to start the rescue of the puppies. At first, the puppies try to escape in a disorganized way. Lesson 12. Organization helps things run more efficiently. With a proper line formed, the puppies escape much faster. Realizing the puppies are gone, Horace and Jasper go hunting to search for the puppies. Rolly has a hard time making it up the stairs. Lesson 13. Staying in shape is important and especially helps in times of emergency. The out-of-shape puppy unfortunately reveals the location of the rest of the puppies to Jasper and Horace. The Pongos arrive in time to save the puppies, and Pongo fights Jasper and Horace. As the adult Dalmatians fight the minions of Cruella De Vil, the puppies are able to escape outside. After all the puppies escape, Pongo and Perdita escape as well. At a nearby barn, the Dalmatians regroup and assess their situation. Realizing that more than their own litter need help, the Pongos decide to save all 101 Dalmatians. Lesson 14. Notice the generous spirit of the Pongos, not only wanting to help their own family, but helping others in need too. When Horace and Jasper arrive, the Colonel, Sergeant Tibbs, and the horse all fight the thugs while the Dalmatians escape. Getting back in their truck, Jasper and Horace search for the puppies. But the dogs cunningly hide where their footprints won't be visible. Cruella arrives with her crazy driving and joins in the search for the puppies. The Dalmatians have a hard time traveling through the brutal winter storm. Pongo counts every single Dalmatian to make sure they haven't lost a single one. Lesson 15. Sometimes in life you face hard times, and it takes all of your effort to simply put one foot in front of the other. Through life we learn the skill of perseverance, to not give up but to carry on even when we want to give up. A sheepdog arrives and has good news for the Dalmatians. They have shelter for the night in a barn. In the barn, the hungry puppies get a well-needed supper from the cows, and they rest from their long journey. Again, Dad makes sure that all 101 Dalmatians are accounted for. Lesson 16. Good parents look out for their kids and keep a watchful eye on them. The next day, the 101 Dalmatians continue their long journey back home. But Cruella De Vil and her henchmen are close behind. Even with efforts to cover their tracks, they are getting closer and closer to recapturing the puppies. In a nearby village, they find transportation that's headed to London. They desperately need a way to disguise the Dalmatians so they can start loading the moving van. As the dogs try to figure out a way, the puppies accidentally start playing around in soot from the fireplace. Pongo realizes the accidental soot on the puppies is the solution to putting the Dalmatians in disguise. After some messy work, the 101 Dalmatians are disguised as Labradors and are ready to sneak right under the noses of Cruella and her henchmen. Lesson 17. Keep a lookout for good ideas. You never know where the next brilliant idea will come from. Just like Louis Pasteur discovering the first antibiotic by accident in the laboratory, some ideas come about by complete accident or mistake. Just when the Dalmatians are discovered by Cruella, they're able to all successfully make it onto the moving van and escape from the village. Cruella isn't done though, and she begins a car chase in her road rage with the moving van. She tries to force the moving van off the road so she can recapture the puppies she wants. Jasper and Horace also continue the chase, but in their ineptitude, they accidentally crash into Cruella, bringing an end to her evil plans. Back in London, Roger, Anita, and their maid glumly prepare for Christmas in their house until they are surprised to hear the happiest sound they could hope for: the sound of barking. Soon their house is flooded with a black sea of 101 Dalmatians. Lesson 18. The cunning, perseverance, and sheer determination of the Pongos have successfully rescued their litter, as well as many other puppies, from an evil woman. And so they lived happily ever after.